Good morning, Year 11. This is Miss Wills here, and I'm going to be talking you through the lesson today, which is all about introducing you to your task for this unit of work and getting you to think about how you can plan for your topic, the topic that you are going to be writing about. So, your task and what we're building towards this half term with this unit, looking at the speeches and boxing up the speeches and articles that we're looking at, is that you are going to next week choose a topic that you can either be sarcastic about, so write humorously about, or where you'll be able to shock the reader as well. So you'll get an option of the two there, so you get to choose which one you go for. You'll be considering your point of view and be able to write an article or a speech, and we'll be looking at both, and you will have looked at both in your lesson so far. And you're going to be creating this argument for your classmates, arguing your point of view. So that is the task there, and as I say, you do get the option. Now currently we are looking at how to write to shock, and then we'll be moving on to looking at kind of satirical writing and writing ridiculing as well. So we're going to look at that in the next few lessons. So focusing on shock first of all. So you will have in your lessons already looked at the Greta Thunberg speech and how writers can craft their speeches and articles in order to evoke an emotional response from an audience, to shock them, to really kind of engage and make us stop and think and consider the issue that they are discussing. Quite accusational, some of the speeches and articles we looked at so far, quite undertones of anger in there as well, all of which used to shock us. But of course, we also have potential solutions kind of provided to us as well, which we're going to have a little look into a little bit later. So I want you to think about, first of all, can you think of and make a list of any issues that you think in society provokes outrage or anger? So I would just like you to pause this clip and to write a list for me. Okay, hopefully you managed to come up with a nice list there. So here are just some potential issues you may have brought up in your list. So we've got discrimination, bullying, gun control, abortion, religious freedom, animal rights, etc. So there are lots and lots of issues and topics that you could have noted down there. What I'd like you to think about now is, in your own article and own speech, you have to pick a topic that you think personally yourself you are most passionate about, that you think you can really spend time kind of researching over, because you will need to know your stuff about this topic, but also that you will enjoy writing about as well, something you are quite passionate about. For example, there are some people in my class who decided they want to write about animal cruelty because that is something that's really close to their heart and something they feel quite passionate about, and they think they can really be quite passionate when they write about it as well. It could be that it's something along the lines of climate change and global warming and the ignorance that still exists in society when we discuss these issues. There are absolutely loads and loads of topics that you could choose, but I just want you to spend a moment now, if you haven't done already, to really kind of think about which topic you are going to be using and looking at for a potential speech article you could write. So I want to give, again, if you could just pause this clip and just have a little think about, of all the list of topics and issues that you've created there, which do you think you would be able to write a speech or article about? Which do you think you're most passionate about? Okay, so hopefully you've managed to choose a topic as well. What I would like you to do now that you've chosen your topic is, I would like you to write it in the middle of your page. So create a mind map of ideas that is going to help you when you're planning for your piece of writing. So if you put your issue in the middle of your page, and then what I want you to think about once you've done that is, I want you to start adding your initial ideas to the mind map. So what's the key issue? What's the key problems in relation to this topic that you've chosen at the moment? What is the most shocking thing about this issue, do you think? And add to the mind map what you know already. What have you already seen, heard about, read about this issue as well? So anything you already know and any opinions you already have as well. You might want to throw some anecdotes in there, some kind of personal stories of how you come across this issue, what you may have personally seen on TV or read in the news that's really shocked you, any facts or statistics you might know of, anything like that. I just want you to add as much as you can in your mind map at this point, and then of course we can add to that when you do a little bit more research. So I want you to pause this clip again, please, and just add your initial ideas to your mind map. Okay, hopefully you've started to add some ideas to that by now. So just kind of show you an example of a potential issue, an issue that someone in my class is looking at as well. So a key issue in society that people have kind of drawn upon, or an issue in society so far, could be the increase in dog theft, is an example. Okay, that could be an issue. Now, for me, if I'm thinking about the increase in dog theft, for me, this is something at the moment I feel quite passionate about because I'm seeing a lot of this happen in social media. So I could add for myself an anecdote, the fact that when I'm scrolling through social media, when I'm looking at the news, I'm seeing so many posts about missing, stolen pets, and the kind of heartbreaking emotional stories that go with that. And I might want to kind of include on my mind map there a specific story to make it more personal, to make it more real as well. So for me, I would say I've read a story recently where an older man had unfortunately lost his wife, and he was knocked over and his dog was stolen just a few weeks after his wife had passed away. So he's been left to feel really lonely and isolated because he's lost both his wife and his dog. And I know there's a play out for that. So that's really emotional. And I think I would really kind of include that in my speech or article because it's an emotional story that I think would pull on a lot of people's kind of heartstrings as well, and really kind of shock them and make them take notice of this issue. So I would look at that. I would look at the fact that in headlines, I would write down that I've seen headlines that people are too frightened to walk their dogs at the moment, especially if they're a specific breed, because, the more attractive the breed they are, the more likely they could get stolen, etc. So this is an issue. So that's the kind of things you might want to add to your own so far. Just what you know or you've read or your opinion on it currently. The next thing you need to do then is we need to add to this, because if you're going to write a speech and an article about it, it's an extended piece of writing on this, you need to be confident in what you're saying. You not only need to know the issues surrounding this topic and the key kind of examples in statistics that are going to help emphasize the issues that you're looking at here and emphasize your opinion. But you also need to look at solutions. It's really important. So you need to think about, what am I going to say? You need to be able to let an audience know this is the issue, but if we do this, we can help the situation. This will require research. And that's what the next slide is going to help you with. And it's what I'd like you to spend kind of the rest of this lesson, the rest of the session doing and completing and adding to your mind map. So when you're writing an argument, you really need to think about, you need to look at opinions on the topic itself. You need to understand that there's certain information you'll need to really emphasize the points you're making, to really kind of emphasize the shock factor as well. Statistics are really, really good for that. So it's important that you do use those as well. We're looking at structure when we're boxing up the speeches and articles we've been looking at so far to help us kind of structure our own pieces. But obviously you also need to make sure that we're using persuasive methods that we've looked at as well. So statistics, which is going to come from a lot of your research, of course. Things like rhetorical questions, emotive language, shifts in tone. So when we're thinking about shifts in tone, if we are shocking the audience at the beginning with some of the speech we've looked at already, and perhaps some of you have looked at the article as well, we do begin with a shocking tone to it. We have angry undertones, quite accusational as well, but that does shift as the kind of article and speech goes on, we need to kind of shift to a, okay, although this is an issue and we want to shock and engage the reader and audience straight away, we also need to kind of shift that to, well, actually, there is an optimistic side to this as well. There is a hopeful element to this because we can do something together, and that idea of unity in order to solve this issue, help solve this issue. So think about how you're going to talk about both in your own piece. Anecdotes, of course, so personal stories, personal links you have, whether it's you've read something in the news that you've personally that's personally shocked you or had an impact on you, or whether you have actually been involved in something to do with this issue or witnessed something. That's something you could include. Pronouns and repetition. So, of course, that's things we need to have in the back of our mind when we're thinking about what to include in our own piece of writing. But what I would like you to do for today, as I say, for kind of the rest of this session, is to start researching this topic. Now, as it says on the left-hand side here, you need to be able to think about 4 to 5 problems that we face with this topic and kind of start the research and get that together. And you need to look at what solutions are put in place as well. There will be other articles, there will be other speeches, for example, that you can look into where they discuss solutions, where they discuss what we can put in place, etc. So you need to make sure you have ideas for solutions as well. Statistics. So if you could try and find 5 interesting statistics that you can kind of literally use throughout your speech or article. Obviously, they are really important and effective to use. Facts, interesting facts, factual information. It could be that you have some case studies, so a story you've heard about, that's fact that this has happened, this is how this impacts this person or this family, etc. And also expert views. So any other articles you're looking at, or for example, for mine, I will possibly look at people, if I was looking at the dog theft, maybe the Dogs Trust and what they're saying about that, and possibly look at the kind of justice system and what they say about it, and what the punishment will be for this crime if someone's kind of found stealing a dog. So that's what we mean by experts there. So what I would like you to do then, as I say, for the rest of the lesson, is to crack on with this and to try and add as much to that mind map as possible to help you with this. Okay, thank you very much for listening, guys, and enjoy your research.